tonight, except there's nothing regular about tonight. I'm getting chills as I say it. A lot of people know right now about the coronavirus, but in the Arsenal world, it's come home to hit. Mikel Arteta has tested positive for the coronavirus, and a couple of things to say. People deal with these things in their own way. They deal with it seriously and solemnly, or they deal with it with humor. So bear with us. We're going to try and probably do a mix of both because we have six people here. We're all going to have different emotions. And I've studied about this coronavirus for the last 4, 5, 6 weeks. A lot of people have not. So hopefully we can maybe serve a little bit as a information tool. I don't think any of us here are certified doctors or anything that can speak intelligently about it, but if we throw you out a few pointers here and there, we may actually help. And that's the we have some podcasts that are a lot of fun, but this one might be a little bit more solemn. So let's go around the table here and bring everyone into the circle and talk about it. Stan, you want to go next?
Oh, cheers. I was thinking, don't start with me. Don't start with me. Seriously, I mean, it's. I'm a little bit different to yourself, like you said, that you've been looking at this for quite some time. I'm completely the other way around, man. If there's any sand, my head has been stuck firmly in it. And, you know, usually I like a good conspiracy. I like to know what's going on in the world, but it's just this particular subject. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not tangible. You can't see it. If you're going to get it, you're going to get it, right? So I've really been trying to purposely avoid the news because every time I do flick onto the news, it's all over the place. But then, you know, seeing the on Twitter today the announcement from Arsenal, you know, it's like shit just got real for me. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to avoid it, and it's right there. So everywhere I'm looking, it's there. So that's why I've been on it, and I don't really know that much about it. I don't know I don't know what you should really do. Obviously, they're telling us to keep clean, but you know, I'm like, you know, if you really need to be told to wash your hands after you've gone for a dump, then you was nasty.
Yeah, Stan, my brother-in-law has been telling me, treat it like you've got shit on your hands. You've literally got shit on your hands, and you have to keep. Now, maybe that's going a little bit too far, but you got to.
No, let's face it, boys. We've all been in down that road before, where the shit paper didn't quite hold up to the task.
Yeah.
You didn't get wet hands in.
Yeah, he's like, shit.
It's actually cleaner that way.
Oh, Tony.
You gotta wash your hands for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Sing happy birthday.
Yeah, you gotta wash. You gotta have the soap on for 20 seconds. Sing happy birthday twice and some very, very hot water. Quite hot water, right?
I've been keeping up with it on the news since January when it first started, and I think China ended up taking the right approach by restricting the travel of 780 million people.
So, down to Hope's next.
Hey, first and foremost, prayers for Mikel Arteta. You know, let's be honest, we're dealing with a virus for which there is no cure as we stand. I don't mean to sound morbid. Hey, generally about these things, I'm like, whatever. If it comes, it comes. But I've been out tonight and I've just got a week's worth of shopping. As someone with a compromised immune system, I guess in the last 36 hours, I've started to take this seriously. Someone who lives in the UK, London, close to London, you know, the message is from the UK Prime Minister, you know, be prepared to lose your loved ones. That shit's serious. You know, there comes a point in my life where I start, okay, you know, prevention is better than cure. And at the minute, there is no cure. Again, I don't mean to scaremonger, like, you know, any of your fans or like, you know, say, look, you know, start going to get some tinfoil and wrap yourself in tinfoil and that. But even tonight, you know, I belong to a few local clubs and I didn't attend one. I mean, there's about 20, 30 people in each group. And I said, if you want me to dial in, I'll dial in because I've got a compromised immune system. So now I've got to be careful of my movements, what I do, where I go. because the news from the authorities, for me, as I was messaging one of the panel earlier tonight, it's all about money. You know, just all the leagues, all the sports like the NBA, the NHL, so not the leagues, those associations, the ATP, then the Bundesliga, the Spanish league, the Italian league, they've all gone lockdown. Now the Premier League is meant to be the biggest and the best in on the planet, in the world, and yet they've not come up with any statement. You know, things need to happen. There was thousands of people at the races today, and it's just what are we going to pretend?
Anfield as well.
Yeah, we're just going to pretend it's not happening. Yesterday at the Liverpool Atletico game, I see like Atletico fans with their tops off. Now, yeah, okay, go for it, but don't take me with you. Not fair.
Yeah. Gonna skip over to Rohan. Just give Tanner a second there. Rohan.
Yeah, no, this is just getting more and more serious as the days roll on. One bit of information that I had received the day, like I said, I just come to Seattle last week, and the one bit of information that I got was that hand sanitizer isn't the most effective tool, apparently, because the outer layer of this virus is apparently made out of fat. So it's about washing hands, and now I'm just. You wash your hands like as many times as you do normally in a day, but now I think I've become like a little more OCD about it, and I think I'm like washing my hands every 30 minutes, which I don't think is normal in any situation.
No,
you
it
don't
is.
do that,
It
know.
is.
So, but yeah, and it's crazy to see how nobody is spared. Right from like Tom Hanks to Mikel Arteta to like anyone can be affected by it, infected by it, and there's no cure. And again, just picking up on the thread, it's it's weird that the Premier League isn't taking too much precaution. I thought that that the game with Atletico was going to be played behind closed doors, like the Dortmund game, but it wasn't. And people were there in full spirit. So which is amazing. How much lack of care there is just to make money, I suppose. And Olympiacos has played today with Wolves when their owner has tested positive, which is the reason why the Arsenal players went into the self-isolation. So prayers go out to the Wolves players, to the Olympiacos players. This is a money-making tactic, and these are prime athletes whose lives are being put at risk.
What a risk, yeah. Yeah, Tanner, the Premier League has never really been at the forefront of innovation in these things. They always seem to lag behind. And I'm going to say right now, there should not. I don't think there's going to be any games at the weekend. But let me have your thoughts on the whole thing.
I'm probably this is gonna sound maybe a little angry or insensitive, but use some common freaking sense, people. Wash your hands after you pull your pants down to do your business. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Wash your hands. Wash them well with soap and hot water, not just the fake wash. Turn the water on, run your hands under it, and that's it. But it's just common sense. I think you just clean things. Clean your house. I saw a thing on the news today, like it was steps you could take, precautionary steps you could take, and wash your clothes. If you're out in public, change your clothes and then wash what you just had on. Right away to try to kill the strain if it happens to attach to you somehow. Certainly prayers for anyone that has been affected by this, for anyone that's contracted it. Certainly, Mikel Arteta goes without saying. But I think the biggest thing is just common sense, guys. If you feel unwell, stay home. And if you have an employer who says, no, you don't have a choice. You have to get here. Well, is that really the kind of people you want to be working for anyway?
Yeah, I don't think.
With the exception of, and I think you guys all know this, Nicole is a nurse. Her mother works in healthcare. They're performing an essential service, so it's a little different for them, I think. But somebody like me, bartend, piss off. If I don't feel well, I'm not coming to work. And if you fire me for it, I hope you fall off a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just quickly come in?
Mm-hmm.
I was watching an interview with the guy who discovered Ebola, Professor Peter Piot, earlier tonight, and he said that just by speaking to people at arm's length, this virus can be caught.
Yeah.
That's how serious. That's
yeah,
really
2
serious.
meters.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just think that Italy's on lockdown because their cases are going through the roof. I don't know what's happening in Asia. At the same time, I don't want to sound like a scaremonger, like I say, but yeah, I think it's beyond the remit of just washing your hands.
You're exactly right, Hopes. Let me just color in a few more things, and then we'll get off this subject and move on, hopefully. But you're right. It's between 1 and 2 meters. You have to keep what's called a social distance. If you've been in contact for 15 minutes, under 1 or 2 meters with one person, you're considered a close contact. If you or that person will be noted as being positive or tested positive, then that person that you've been with for those 15 minutes, and I'm clearing the room right now. I'm clearing the whole podcast right now. But that is a close contact. And yes, it is from droplets. If you somehow sneeze into your hands, that's fine, but then don't touch. Then you have to wash your hands at that point. But if you inadvertently shake someone's hand, which you shouldn't be doing right now, or touch a surface, that can stay on the surface for a number of hours, especially a metal surface. I can stay on for a few hours there. Like Tanner is saying 3. If someone else would come along and inadvertently touch that surface. So you're looking at buses, you're looking at handles, you're looking at doors, all of those kind of things. And, it's what I do encourage people to watch the Arse blog. He had a podcast out in the last 24 hours. Very informative. He talked to a doctor about all of these things. So check that out. But this is a very virulent strain, and on average, every person that is infecting another 2.5 people. So what we're trying to do is break the circle of the cycle of infection, and that is why they want people to self-isolate and stay at home if you do feel sick, so that we can break the cycle of this in a relatively short space of time. I'm going to open up the floor to anyone else who wants to speak on this now.
Yeah, I was in the store yesterday here in Vancouver, and this young lad was working in the store, and he picked up on my accent. He's like, "All right, bruv. He's like, bruv, where you from?" I'm like, "Well, I'm originally from Peckham." He's like, "Oh yeah, from West London myself." And we was talking, and he was helping me out in the store what I needed to get. We got to the counter, we were still talking away, and I just said to him, I said, "So who's your team?" And that's when it all started to go downhill, right? Because he's like, no. I'm like, oh no. So anyway, we were talking for a little bit longer, and then we finished, and then he put his hand out, and I put my hand out, and I shook his hand. As soon as I shook his hand, I thought to myself, oh no, because it was clammy as well. It had like a very clammy hand. And so I left the shop, and I was literally walking up the shop. I felt like when you have a cartoon, and the character's hand gets hit, and it starts to throb.
Yeah.
I was imagining my hand felt like so I literally really walked as quick as I could to my local pub so I could use the toilet and wash my hands. But that's just the paranoia, I suppose. But
yeah, it's going to be a lot of paranoia. But you have to teach yourself as well these habits of not, touching your mouth, nose, or eyes.
So if I do get it,
not easy.
If I do get it, it was definitely that Tottenham guy. All right, make inquiries.
And a pub washroom is you can suspect that's itself going to be a cesspool of all sorts of bacteria and viruses, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
clean pubs. It's a good pub.
I just wanted to touch on what Stan said and something that Tanner said as well. Tanner spoke about just use your common sense and stay clean and wash your clothes and what have you. And what Stan said about you're just talking to someone, suddenly someone puts their hand out. Natural reaction is to put your hand out back. But I mean, we on this podcast, there are 6 men here. Fact, right? There are 6 men here. I don't, maybe the bulk of your viewers are male as well. Guys, put your ego aside. If it means not going to the gym because you're gonna not get those extra gains, right, or not going down the pub or doing what have you, seriously, this can be life and death. Like, seriously, put your fucking egos aside, man, and just start taking this shit seriously, because what's it going to take for someone in your own household or in your own vicinity to go down? Now, a couple of days ago, there were 6 deaths in the UK. That 6th death, that guy, I knew him. He was from my area, from my borough, as you guys would call district.
That's sobering.
But he was equally it's no excuse, but he was in his late 70s, early 80s. Now his son, who he lived with, is probably my age, late 30s, early 40s, and he's currently in ICU, fighting for his life, because when his father got taken into hospital, it was suspected pneumonia. So the message went out, and the place I used to go to where I saw him, they shut down. And a couple of days later, it transpired his son was taken in with him, and then his son got moved to a different hospital, but his father actually died. So, like I say, maybe most of the viewers here on Arsenal Fan Circle are male. But seriously, put your fucking egos aside, man. Yeah, and I know, just a couple of days ago, I was like, I'm not going to stockpile food and blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, 5 supermarkets I went to tonight, and the basics were all gone. And all right, we can have a laugh, right? Yeah, what you're going to do with packets of toilet roll and packets of pasta and meat and so on and so forth. But if in Italy, where they're turning around and saying, if you ain't got a reason to be on the street, you're getting arrested. All right, they're not going to arrest everyone, but do you know what I mean? Just think about it. Would you want to be locked in your home with or without food?
No, and like I said, I've been prepared, but obviously didn't stockpile as much. Now, a month ago, I went out and got stuff, non-perishables, all that stuff. But want to stress also that while younger people will recover from this, the healthier will recover from this. It's not really the issue. The issue is you will be continuing the chain of infection, and you will be a carrier. So each and every one, I mean, we're a small channel here, but I want to reach out to whoever is viewing, and please share the content as well. You will be a carrier, so you need to self-isolate. You need to do all of the things that make you a good citizen in your country. And think about the elderly and those who are compromised with their immune system and health, that everyone has a grandmother, everyone has a grandfather. We're all getting up in ages where we have fathers and mothers of an elderly age, and I'm worried about my mother and my mother-in-law and stuff like that. So I haven't visited them in a few weeks. So please think about it. Take all of the necessary steps, do all of the necessary things, and that's all I got to say right now, I think. Rohan, anyone else?
Yeah, just one other thing. With regard to the games, whether they're going to be cancelled or not, I mean, I've seen the FA make a decision on the night to cancel games because of poor weather. So, I mean, I don't understand why they're taking their time to not just cancel the games, right? As someone tweeted out earlier, health over, health over wealth.
Yeah. And let's go ahead, Rohan, then we'll get into that, Stan.
No, right. But I think the FA gave out a statement, right, saying that all the games are going to continue as scheduled, and it's only the Arsenal game, which about half an hour ago, they said is not going to go on because of the Arteta news. So, they are explicitly saying that all the games will go on as scheduled. So, now if there's a change in heart, that's something else. But right now, they're making all the noises that the games will go on.
Is there any games on Friday night? No. So they're gonna have 20.
I just want to add that I don't know if you guys saw this, but the after Mikel Arteta was confirmed to have COVID-19, the coronavirus, that the Premier League turned around and said there's going to be an emergency meeting this morning.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm quite sure they will take action, Stan.
The last thing I heard was which was earlier in the day, was that they were saying that games would go ahead, but there would be no fans in the stadiums, and that they wouldn't be showing the films of the games in pubs as well, to discourage people gathering at pubs.
Yeah, heard that yesterday.
Yeah, so
I mean, if you're going to do that, you may as well just not play the games, right? Because players are still mingling and mixing. People behind the scenes are still at risk. I mean, if Mikel Arteta has tested positive, he has tested positive for COVID-19, and if we're to guess that he was involved with the owner from Olympiacos, who also owns Nottingham Forest, there's been like 3 games since then. There's been Portsmouth, there was Everton, and there was West Ham. And there's a lot of hugging after games, right? When you win, you hug the other people on the bench, your own players. There's a lot of mingling's been going on. So it's just, I think it probably best if you just say, okay, let's just stop this until we've got a handle on it.
But for a timeline of events, Stan, that was prior to Mikel Arteta. What you've just said there, that was prior to Mikel Arteta being confirmed as having it, and I believe that was prior to the FA saying we're going to have a meeting on Friday morning.
Okay.
In the timeline of events. So the most recent one that I saw that came up on my social media page was that the FA, the Premier League, are going to meet tomorrow, first thing in the morning, to decide what to do, because I think everybody's calling them out. And with regard to Mikel Arteta, it's like, being Arsenal, and it doesn't matter, but a Premier League manager. Also earlier today, this was prior to Mikel Arteta being confirmed to have coronavirus. A couple of Leicester City players, they were confirmed to have it, and Brendan Rodgers said, "Oh, they're self-isolating." Because I just want to add one thing there. In terms of, quite frankly, I don't know who's got it and who don't have it, because it takes a couple of days for the symptoms to manifest. So they could have, in close proximity, even if they're not hugging and they're doing all the right things, just by speaking to people or what have you, they could be passing it along.
Yeah.
So
if you're speaking, hopes the droplets come out of your mouth for up to a meter. It can be in the air. And to answer your Rising 101's question, why wasn't the other viruses dealt with as seriously as this one? This one is, in some ways, as Hopes has just touched on, a bit of a silent predator, if we want to use that theme again. It's a silent predator out there that people can be walking around without apparent when it doesn't look apparent that you have a flu or the thing at all. You can seem fine, but you're actually transmitting at that point.
The first symptoms of it mimic
symptoms. Exactly, the symptoms. That was the word I was looking for. Thanks, Tanner.
Yeah.
And that's why it is way more important, Rising 101, that this one, if you're hearing things happening in your neighborhood now, you better believe it's been around for about a week or 10 days.
Yeah.
Because the effects of it are not being made shown until that point in time.
I think I'm inclined to agree with you, Ray, with that tweet that you put out some days ago. That I think that West Ham game may be the last Arsenal game this season. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I think you could have be right on that.
Yeah, I mean, we all put out tweets hoping that we're right in some way, that we can be the oracle and shine it on everyone else. But I wish this thing had never happened.
Can I make a confession?
It's such a bummer.
So where I sit in the Emirates, there's a couple of lads, you know, because you go each week and you know sit around the same people.
Yeah.
And the guy behind me, bless him, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. What does he do? He puts his hand up and I shake him and give him a hug. And then I think afterwards, oh shit. Yeah,
You gotta go
reminded me
Indian.
when you said West Ham, like, you know, just like, oh shit. But like I said, I've got a compromised immune system, and you know, I can't stress enough to your viewers here, Arsenal Fan Circle, that as a guy, you know, if you've got a cold or if you've got a cough, don't risk it, because it's not just about you. You don't know how many other people you're going on to affect.
I'm going to say it's okay to be an arsehole for 4 to 6 weeks. Seriously. Don't shake those hands. Give them a wave. Do whatever you got to do to acknowledge their existence, but don't shake hands. Don't have personal contact.
I just wanted to ask as well, right? Because I was poorly. If you remember, I was poorly and I didn't do a few podcasts. I was poorly on and off for about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And the last sort of part of it did result in this cough that made me sound like a mule. And I was actually thinking to myself, like, I'm 51, right? So I'm in the crosshairs. I'm not young and I'm not really, really old yet. And I was thinking, I wonder if that was it working itself through me, because I didn't really have a fever. I just like very achy. My chest did start to feel a little bit tight around the chest. Lots of joint pains.
Yeah.
Bunged up, but the last part of it was this bloody cough. Made me sound like Albert Steptoe.
I mean, I think you're okay, because it did happen 3 or 4 weeks ago, and you know, hadn't come to these parts at that time. You know.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Going back to Rising 101's question, why wasn't the other viruses dealt with, like,
so seriously?
COVID-19, yeah, like seriously. Correct me if I'm wrong here. It's because of how quickly it's spread.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, how, you know, with the rise, like, you know, it was just a couple of weeks ago, I was hearing about China, and then it was around January, end of January, when Man United bought that player, and you know, there was a bit of banter going around the club.
Oh yeah, Igalo.
Yeah, Igalo, that's it. You know, and all of that.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, you know, there's so many viruses that we hear about in Asia and stuff, and they rarely make it over the pond. But when it started getting to Italy, my eyebrows, you know, Ancelotti style, started coming up a bit, and I was like, wow. So I wonder if it's because those other viruses like Ebola, I think, and SARS. I think SARS and bird flu, they were big in Canada. I don't remember that many cases over here in the UK. Yeah. Ebola, I think it was on the African continent more than I heard about it around here. But now this is, like I said earlier, you know, this is on my doorstep, you know, literally.
Our Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, his wife has also tested positive for it as well. That was connected earlier.
Did you hear, like 72 hours ago, the British Health Minister, she's already got it. She's also got it.
If a health minister can get it, then we're stuffed, don't we, properly?
And just today, I saw, because it was the budget in the UK over here, and they were asking the Chancellor, why are you not taking precautions? Because you're the man with, like, the purse strings. Like, you know, you've got the wallet of the nation, and why aren't you, like, being contained? And he was just like all blasé and, oh yeah, don't worry, you know, I'm not like showing any symptoms and blah blah blah. I think a big part of, you know, from the politicians is just to play it down. But I've never seen Boris Johnson look so serious in any press conference as I've seen him today. And his actions spoke louder than his words. I mean, you know, I also thought, sorry, just on the side point, I don't want to make this a monologue, right? But at this time, you guys over the pond have got Trump and we've got Boris Johnson. Like, you know, the two most, like, comical leaders you'd least want in charge of, like, a world pandemic like this are at the helms, you know? What chance have we got?
And I never thought this podcast would get political. ZVO, Genius, thanks for dropping by. You're new around here. Appreciate you being here. If anyone's got questions in the comments, drop them down. We are not geniuses. Speaking of geniuses, we are not geniuses, but we can relay the information that we're hearing from the media ourselves.
So look at the events, worldwide.
And yes, Trump did say it was a hoax.
He said it's just like flu.
Look at the events around the world that we've
Foreign virus.
They've cancelled the rest of the NBA season, and there's a lot of money in the NBA, right? A lot of money circulates in that. So that's been done. I believe the Formula One, the first race at Australia, that's now been cancelled. They already said they were cancelling China. There's talk about the Euros being moved. So this is a big thing that's happening here. Now, all of these, especially when it comes to these sporting events, right, they all generate a lot of revenue, especially through advertising and sponsorship. So they don't take these matters lightly. And I do think that we should basically, for safety, basically end the Premier season now.
Yeah.
We register Bournemouth just as Bournemouth, knock off the AFC bit, and then we award the Premier League trophy alphabetically. I think it's probably the fairest way to go in the current situation.
No, but in all seriousness, Dan, you got a good point there. And why should we just not end the season today? Liverpool have won the league, right? Nobody can dispute that. And who really cares?
That can't be disputed. That can't be disputed. But the rest of the spots are still open, right? Some teams have had difficult runs. Some have had easy runs. It's going to be interesting how they, like somebody said, right? Like for people playing fantasy Premier League, they said that don't worry, guys. Like everybody, use your chips in game week 37 for the 9 games that are going to happen in game week 38.
I think as Arsenal fans, we have to put the priority of the civilians in all of the world ahead of football here today.
We could just make it like a big crossbar challenge for like the top 4 teams, or a penalty shootout, or something like that, right?
What about relegation and who's coming up from the championships? Just everybody stays where they are. Nobody goes down, nobody goes up.
It is an important question, isn't it? Like, what do you guys think? If you were the person who had the final say, I asked this to everyone. If you were the person who had the final say over just the Premier League, what would your decision be tomorrow morning? I'll start with Tony.
I would delay it 30 days like what NBA did and take a look at it in 30 more days. Just suspend the season for 30 days.
I said what I said before. Just bin it off and award it alphabetically, and we take care of Bournemouth. But seriously, just stop it. Just now. I don't see how you stop it and then you restart it. Players got to train and stuff like this.
But then what are you going to do, like Rohan said, about people who are like in the top 5 or 6 and like Rising 101 is saying in the comments here about people who are being relegated or coming up from Championship? How would you manage that, Stan?
See, that's the thing, right? If we stop the Premier League now, just wanted to award the winner, then it's obvious that it's going to be Liverpool. But I agree. If you look at maybe a couple of divisions down, if you stop their league now, you might have teams that are like neck and neck. Maybe just goal difference where maybe 3 teams have an opportunity to win. So it's a great point. What do you do? It's just unprecedented.
Liverpool decision is the easiest one. Liverpool decision is the easiest one out of the whole Premier League. Other 3 spots are open. The relegation spots are open. Who comes up from the Championship? Everything except for Liverpool is clear. But it'll be so funny if Liverpool don't get the title because of this. Because you're just like, mathematically you haven't won it, so we can't give it to you.
Well, listen, I'm not at the point where I'm fighting with Liverpool. I'm actually, I like that they've finally done it. They're going to do it. I wouldn't take it away from them in any way, shape, or form.
That's a good question. Who here, right? If we had the power to do one of 2 things, either stop it now and we give it to Liverpool and forget all the other stuff that gets sorted out, or we stop it now and nobody gets it, to be spiteful. I'm
going to say let them have it. They've been fantastic for up until February, right, Tanner?
Here's the thing. I mean, with that, and to make it a little lighthearted here, First of all, I would end things now and not hand them the trophy because
I'm with you, man.
You mean bastard.
I'm with you.
The only
Yeah.
lot I hate more than
Yeah.
them are the scum on the wrong side of the tracks up north. So
You don't hate Manchester United more.
not as much as I hate Liverpool.
But for the fans, though, it'd be so funny, right? 30 years of that, they're winning the league, and then in the season,
You're going to run away and hide with it.
And last season, mathematically, if it weren't for City, they probably would have done it, and they had to raise their game, and they've been playing like wizards this season, and they don't get it.
Here's the thing.
It's not out of spite, but it's about the fact that it's just funny, right? Like hard, dark humor, but it's funny.
I'm doing it for spite. No, I'm doing it for spite.
I'm doing it for spite.
What if they did that to the Invincibles?
The thing about it is that at this point, everybody knows Liverpool are the champions of the league. You know they've won it.
Yeah.
And I will say I'll take the other side of this. I did see Liverpool fans really putting out some mean spirited things about Mikel Arteta, and it's like, you know what, that right there. And I didn't see Chelsea fans do that. I didn't see. Hey, I didn't.
Yeah, but Tanner, every club
yeah.
Every club has a fan base like that.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
We've certainly got our share.
But the bottom line is, like I said, everybody knows they've won it, and it would suck for them, for their fans, to not get the trophy. That would really sting. And if I were a Liverpool fan, if it happened to us, man, it would stick in my craw like no other. So I would, to go back to the previous question, what would I do? Just in terms of the season in general, Liverpool notwithstanding, and you've got to suspend the season right now. Suspend it for, Tony. What did the NBA do? 30 days. That's what Adam Silver said. 30 days. The NHL.
It may not be long enough.
Well, they're going to reevaluate in 30 days. That's what it is. It's not. Oh, hey, in 30 days we're gonna reevaluate in 30 days. So the NHL sort of. I don't think they put a time frame on it. I didn't hear a number, but I think they're basically, we're gonna stay in touch with medical professionals and just sort of evaluate day to day, week to week, see where things stand. And the Premier League has to do the same thing, because the fact of the matter is, and it was Hopes who said, put the ego aside, stay out of the gym. Some of the filthiest places on this planet are men's freaking locker rooms. Serious, and I don't mean just like at your local gym or whatever. Tony, back me up on this, because I'm sure you heard it. You're a big NBA fan. It was Rudy Gobert who was diagnosed with it last night, and then turn around, Donovan Mitchell has it, teammate. And then what did the Jazz players say? Man, Rudy Gobert's not the cleanest dude in the world, and they're sharing a locker room with him. So I just end it. Cease all activity right now. If it is as bad as this, cease all activity. Send them home, self-quarantine, whatever the case may be, and let's reevaluate in 30 days and see where we are. And the reason that you suspend and don't cancel is because there are season ticket holders and fans who have already purchased tickets to think about. And that is a logistical, I have to think that would be an absolute logistical nightmare for these clubs in any sport to have to deal with, in terms of refunds, reissuing tickets, things like that. So you suspend the season for 30 days, or at least 30 days, you reevaluate, and hopefully we can finish these seasons, NBA, NHL, obviously Premier League. We're not going to get March Madness this year. They called that today. So, and there will be no champion awarded there.
I just want to say to any viewers that are in there that have not heard already, Mikel Arteta has been tested positive for coronavirus. A lot of people who are in good health will survive this. The key here and the message we want to get out from this podcast is to don't be a carrier. If people who are tested positive, don't be a carrier. We try to break the link here. The health officials are trying to get that word out. So we're talking about maybe not having large groups or gatherings, no more games for 30 days. Anyone else want to speak?
Yeah,
Oops.
can I go next? In line with what Tanner was saying, and to elaborate on his point about a suspension, now, and also in line with what the World Health Organization is saying. So, what the World Health Organization is saying, that come summer, it'll be warmer and there may be a better chance to
Identify it.
Yeah, or to come up with a cure. Even the medical professional I referred to earlier, the Professor Peter Piot, who found Ebola, who said COVID-19 is a lot worse. If the Premier League, there are only nine games to go until the season. If the Euros, let's say UEFA said, right, we're going to postpone the Euros until 2021, in line with what Rohan was saying. So if they were to do that, give it until June, and then each team just play 2 games a week. However they'd schedule it. The season ticket holders still get those 9 games to go to, however it works, home or away. I think with age comes experience, and sometimes you have to let things play out. And who knows? Come the summer, and also every medical team across the world would be sharing their data, because at the minute they're probably just rushed off their feet. They'd have time to settle and to try and put this thing into perspective, because at the minute it's just there are holes everywhere. When you plug one, the dam's bursting elsewhere.
Yeah.
So just by the Premier League saying, let's put it on pause and let's come back, let's review it in 6-8 weeks time, or the start of summer, end of May, early June.
The other thing you were mentioning there, Hopes, about the summer coming, at that point the flu will have gone away, relatively speaking, and the authorities will be able to identify that this is in fact the coronavirus more readily. If you have flu-like symptoms in June and July, then it's not the flu, and you need to seek treatment at that point.
Well, there is such thing as summer flu, but anyway.
Yeah.
I did not understand this logic that everybody is sort of giving, including Trump, about the fact that when summer comes around, then it's going to be cured, or it's going to go down, because
No, it won't go away. It won't be cured.
Yeah, in Southeast Asia, where it's rampant, it's always hot. It's hot right now as well. It's not like it's down there. So I'm not really sure about how accurate that this assumption is, that come the summer in the UK or the US or in Europe, it's going to go down. I'm not really sure about that.
No, Rohan, I don't think anybody's saying it's that the coronavirus is that it's going to start to fade away because of the weather. I think we're saying, or it's being said, that it'll be more, how do I want to put this?
Readily
easier to diagnose, because it won't be coming up against influenza itself. If you see this in the summer, you'll be able as a doctor to diagnose it easier, because you're not wondering, is it A or B? You pretty much know what it is.
Yeah, right. No, this wasn't in response to whatever anyone has said here, but in response to what Trump had said a few weeks earlier, that all of these pandemics going down in the summer and then coming back in the winter or something like that.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, this is Trump who initially said,
exactly, right.
This virus is not even as dangerous as flu. And then suddenly he's put New York on lockdown, and
he just keep his mouth shut sometimes.
He stopped all flights to Europe apart from UK and Ireland. This is what I was saying.
We're not included in that, Hope.
Over here we've got Boris Johnson. Over there you guys have got Trump. It's a pure that's the worst.
That's because the Americans think that we're all living in these houses, we're all drinking tea. And we've got upstairs, downstairs butlers and cleaners downstairs doing all the cleaning and everything like that. While we're upstairs just going, look at this ghastly situation. Oh.
Stan, we don't drink tea here.
Pablo, thanks for joining us, Pablo. I think Pablo's right here. If you please understand, if your immune system is peak, it will kill off the virus and register the corona as a threat, and will kill it off. Yeah. So this is a virus that is going to be dangerous for the elderly and those who have compromised immune systems. So they're the ones who
my grandfather is 12 years old, and that's the thing I worry about the most.
Need to be careful.
Absolutely. I told him, I said, that's my guy. I talk to my grandfather every day. He lives, he's Carlisle. He lives not far from,
2 hours away from me. Yeah.
Speaking, he's not far from you.
Yeah.
I talk to him every single day. And I told him, I've repeated myself in the last probably 18 hours. Don't go to the store. Stay.
Yeah.
And that's not him at all.
And here's a message: if the people who are younger and have better health and all of that, they should be doing the legwork for the elderly.
Oh, I told him,
bringing groceries.
I'll order it, and I'll have it delivered to you. Instacart's an app that delivers groceries. Amazon has groceries. So
free pickup.
I told him, look, if you're going to leave the house, take the dog across the street for a walk, go for a drive, but please, please, please stay away from crowds. And at this point, I don't want to go to the store. So I hate crowds. So
breaking news, Norma Seguencia, thanks for joining us. Breaking news, the Brazil president, press secretary, tested positive days after meeting Trump. So, all of these politicians now.
Wait a minute. Is that real or is that just a joke?
So what you're saying then, silver linings and all that?
It's got to be real, right, Tanner?
Yeah, they can't put anything on the internet that isn't true.
I think
unless you guys meet my French supermodel date, I she's a supermodel, Tanner. I don't know. She told me.
On a serious note, though, I was speaking to my stockbroker earlier, and he said, forget Bitcoin. Andrex is where you want to be putting all your money. Can't wipe your bum with a Bitcoin.
That's real.
But I do think what Ray and Tanner were saying about, don't make those journeys if you don't have to. And for the people who have got, as was it Pablo who said about peak immune systems, who have got peak immune systems, I think overall, if this is tackled as a community all over the world where people are looking out for each other, it can only, I hope, it could bring people together, because I don't know what it's like where you guys live, but here I'm surrounded by people, but I don't even know who my neighbors are. Even if I smile and say, hey, what's going on and how are you guys? Some people are they want to isolate. They just want to stay in their bubbles. But again, especially for men, it comes down to, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, look, I'm worried, I'm scared, or, what have you, hopefully that will drive together the community spirit.
It's hard to come together when they're telling us to isolate ourselves, though, isn't it?
Well, there's more ways than just being there.
Okay,
it's
all right. So to Norma's point,
Good point.
It's real.
And I just looked it up, but it is not the Brazilian president. It is the
press secretary,
the communications secretary. Yeah.
Yep.
But let's be careful here, fellas. Let's not go down this road of
and that, Tanner, that's the thing.
Because of Trump that this person contracted coronavirus. Let's not.
It can be anyone. You're absolutely right, Tanner. It's anyone.
I don't want this to. And Ray, this is your show. I'm sorry. I don't want to speak out of turn here.
We have Tanner. We have celebrities. We have Tom Hanks. We have people. Everybody's getting this.
This thing is not discriminating.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not discriminating.
Good point.
It doesn't have a political affiliation.
It doesn't
have a political agenda.
It doesn't care what religion you are. It doesn't care what color your skin is. It doesn't care what gender you are. That's not what it's interested in.
It doesn't care if you support Arsenal or suffering a long time.
And
Rohan?
So
this
on a lighter note, to watch what Stan like commented some time ago that this podcast has been sponsored by WHO, right?
WHO, yeah.
And I read a tweet some time ago saying that there were dogs that were kept in isolation because they thought that they're going to spread the coronavirus, but it's been tested and now people know that dogs cannot spread it. So WHO let all the dogs go. Just to be clear, who let the dogs out?
We'll let the dogs out. WHO.
Hey,
Um,
game over. I'm out.
All right, so
I'm out.
listen. Is he gone? Okay, well, all right.
Bye.
What
The
was
joke
that?
wasn't that bad.
Listen, our listeners, where else can you find this kind of material? I mean, come on. I mean,
Now,
great point, Rohan.
JGP, a new face in here again. Thanks for joining us. Do we need to isolate ourselves now? In my country, we got 34 positive and 2 deaths. Can you tell us what country you're from, JGP? But yeah, you do need to. You
his
don't need
picture,
to.
his picture,
Right.
the cat.
Rohan, by the way, that was my pseudo mic drop for you by tipping out.
I love that picture.
That was tremendous, by the way.
Completely lost on me.
I saw a thing just real quick. I did see a friend of mine sent me something. Have you guys all seen John Wick with Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
Have you seen the original John Wick, the very first one?
No.
Do you remember what kind of a dog it was? What kind of a puppy did his girlfriend get him?
No.
It was a beagle.
Okay.
And I heard a friend of mine who owns a beagle up in Cleveland. She sent me this thing. It's John Wick carrying the puppy. It said something like coronavirus can attack dogs, and he's like running with 2 guns, carrying a puppy on his back, shooting at the coronavirus. So like that, yeah.
No.
If it could affect dogs, that would be me. You're like, I'll shoot everybody.
I think every Arsenal fan wants to echo what Norman's saying. The most important thing is I hope Arteta makes a full recovery. Once a Gooner, always a Gooner. But let's answer JGP's channel.
Yeah, where's he from or she?
I completely lost what your stunt was there, Tanner. I don't know what that was. I'll have to watch that back.
No, I said I'm done after Rohan said who the World Health Organization let the dogs out. I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm out. So
Drop mic.
it was a mic drop for Rohan.
Yeah.
JGP
he's really taken that seriously.
It feel like we got to keep things light here.
Yeah,
so.
A little bit of each. Yeah, JGP. My advice is you do not need to isolate yourself at this point. If you feel symptoms, I would do that. You do need to be careful. Go and do the things that you need to do in your normal everyday life, but be careful. Maximize your trips. If you're going to go to the store and pick up food, do what Hopes did. Get a week's worth of food that's going to keep you for a week. So you're minimizing your trips to places. Reduce your circle of friends. Reduce your fan circle. Unlike what we're doing, trying to increase it.
I was gonna say, just being on here with 5 other guys tonight, and with some light-hearted entertainment and a balance of seriousness, you just kind of feel better. You've connected with other guys. You've had a laugh about it. You've spoken about the serious points, and because if you just sit there and you just watch the media and you listen to the news coverage, it can get very bleak and very depressing really quickly. I mean, just try and approach with a sense of caution, and don't listen to what the politicians are saying, because we're on a need to know basis at the minute. We're collateral.
And you know what, Hope? Handedly, some politicians in some countries are more worried about the economy than they are worried about the people.
I was gonna say, Ray. You know what? Do you know what's a good sign? When the Dow and the FTSE pick up. That's when you know that they know something we don't, because people are suddenly starting investing again. Because at the minute, both markets are just on the verge of collapse, if not already they've collapsed.
All right, would you cancel the Euros at this point, folks, and the Olympics? I think we have to. I think we have to think about these things. Rohan, no?
Only because you've got tickets.
I have tickets to the semi-finals. I booked my flights yesterday.
This goes beyond, Rohan. This goes beyond that. Seriously.
Sharing is caring. Hand them over.
Sure, it does. No, on a serious note, if it's a threat to lives, then we have to.
Yeah.
But I'd prefer not to. Like,
yeah.
If given a choice.
We wanna switch up the topic now a little bit, right? This before the news of Mikel Arteta, and we were gonna talk about the C word, the dreaded C word, and it's not. We were going to talk a little bit, but what happened to Arteta? We've extended a little bit, close to an hour now, but we wanted to go freestyle a little bit tonight, so we're going to switch it up a little bit, and we're going to talk about your freestyle topic. Has anyone done their homework here? What topic you want to bring up, Arsenal related? That's in your mind, on your mind. Want me to start? Tony, you want to start? So we can pick on you later? I'll go first then, okay?
You go first.
All right. The freestyle topic about Arsenal, I wanted to possibly target in the transfer window some players from the Premiership. Why do we always have to go outside the Premiership to get players? When was the last time we got a player apart from David Luiz in the Premiership? So some players I'd like to target and follow the Liverpool model. Aarons from Norwich. A fullback that's going to give Bellerin some competition. We would have two dynamic fullbacks if you think about Saka and Aarons. I'm going to lay all this out for you then. I'm going to leave it open for everyone to discuss and tear me apart. Lewis Dunn from Brighton. He's a captain. Let's go get him. Connor Cody from Wolverhampton Wanderers. It might be more difficult to get him. He's also a captain. Go get him. One of those two, please. Decore, Cantwell, and Grealish in midfield. That's it. What do you think?
I like it.
I'm not saying buy all of these players. We could cherry pick a few of these.
Your first two are spot on. I've been screaming for Lewis Dunk since last summer, so I'm all for it. I'm all for that.
Centre back wise, the dream is on Saliba and Upamecano, especially after the performance yesterday, or was it day before? Whenever Spurs played, that. But Aaron's especially because Norwich seem to be going down, and if they do, we can pick him up for cheap. So why not? That fits the model, and we could probably do with that. Yeah.
I
don't know what's the NDD situation in Leicester, for another CDM. I don't know. He's going to be expensive, definitely, but if we have to look in the Premier League, he's proven quality, and the change between how Leicester were playing when he was around and then during his injury just proves that he can be a big asset.
What I like about the players that you've named there, Ray, is that I think that where we are as Arsenal, the players that you have named are probably more gettable, and those players would probably look that a move to Arsenal, even though we're kind of below our usual standard at the moment. To those kind of players, I don't know about Decore, but to most of those players, it would still be deemed as a step up.
Yeah.
Whereas
Cantwell is an Arsenal fan. Grealish said that the Emirates is the best stadium he's played at. Aarons would surely come.
You look at someone like Upamecano, who's everyone knows who knows me. That's my wet dream for the summer. That's the one that I really want to get in.
Yeah.
But as his stock is rising, my biggest fear is about Arsenal is that if we don't make Champions League or European League next season, it's going to be our fourth one now that we're not in the Champions League. I worry about how big of an attraction we really are at the moment. So that's what I like about the players that you've chosen. For me, they may still deem Arsenal as a step up.
I think,
but we have to pay a premium. Since
you might have to pay a little bit more.
because since Man United have gone down to the Europa League, and the type of players that they have attracted, be it Pogba, Maguire after the World Cup that he had, and then the season with Leicester, things like that. You just have to pay a premium, and it seems like because realistically, how many teams are going to win the Champions League? Sometimes there is a possibility. You had Spurs reaching the finals, but that doesn't happen. Generally, it's the cream that rises to the top in the Champions League, and so if you pay a premium, we have the pull of being in London. We have some sort of heritage here, a big heritage, let me say. So,
Rohan, look at those
not a
three players from Lombard camp. How much would we be improved with those three players in the squad, let alone the team? Grealish, Aarons, and Decore.
I'd say it would be massive.
Go ahead, Oaks.
So I just want to say, I mean, yeah, Premier League team selling to Premier League team, you're paying stupid money for them, right? Logically, I get what you're saying. I get what the panel is saying. But practically and factually, the way we do business, every one of them players is outside of our budget because of the way we pay clubs.
We spent a lot of money last summer.
But how? In installments. That's how we got the players. Remember, we stalled on Tierney.
Every transfer is in installments.
Yeah, but no. Hold on. We stalled on Tierney until the last week or the last day of the transfer window because we. And this is what I mean by logically and factually, right? Logically, yeah, I'd want all of those players there because they would do something for us. However, that's why we go across the pond, like into Europe, and we we penny pinch, and that's why we are where we are here today
because of our
but
Raul and Vinay.
I will turn around and say when we bought, I don't know what the deal was when we bought Lacazette, when we bought Aubameyang, because they were a lot of money. I guess those areas where you've picked these players, without a doubt, midfield and defence need bolstering, and we need we need to have replacements there, like when players get injured. And just before I shut up, I just want to go back to the point. Hudson-Odoi's just been he's confirmed he's got corona as well. Chelsea just released a statement
I heard
minutes ago. I don't want to go back to that topic, but I just want to say.
No, I mean, it's going to be a running topic.
Can I just
jump in, Stan?
That comment you just had up there from Norma Siguencia, Thomas Partey, 42 million release clause. Arsenal snatch him up. And this is the follow-on of what Rohan was just saying a few moments ago. Someone like Decore, we would probably have to pay a premium to get him away from Watford. But I believe that we would probably have more chance of enticing Decore to Arsenal. We'd have to pay the premium than we would going to Thomas Partey, who's got a release clause. Because Thomas Partey has a release clause, it doesn't mean that you just turn up at his team, slap the money down, and we leave with the player. The player still has to have a desire to want to come and play for Arsenal. And I worry how being out of the Champions League for so long, and maybe looking like that we won't be in Europe next season, how much that has dented our pulling power for a player like Thomas Partey. So we may have to look at someone like Decore, pay the premium, but Decore would probably come across from Watford because to him they deem it as a step up.
And we have to start that improvement that we've been doing under Arteta and continue to do that. Lombard camp, Hopes, I'm coming back to you. Lombard camp, I would pay the premium for these players. All the players we buy from other leagues take at least a year to adjust. We don't have that time. Pay the premium. Liverpool did this. They got players from around the Premier League.
Yeah, but they were willing to put, again, it comes down to logically understand, but practically, financially. Yeah. I agree with Lombard camp. I agree with Stan. I agree with you, Ray. Look at the way we do business. In order to pay that premium, we're going to have to break the mold. And in order to break the mold by the Arsenal board, even if that means doing away with all this BS about self-sustaining model and all that. We're going to have to come away from that, the self-sustaining model, in order to say, sorry, we've tried all this self-sustaining bullshit and it's not working. What we need is to go in hard, like United, go and get a Bruno Fernandes and whoever else, and we see the difference these players are making. They hit the ground running.
Go ahead, Ray.
So we're going to have some Liverpool people on a podcast in the near future, and we want to dive into this. We are Liverpool year one. We're Jurgen Klopp year one right now.
I want to comment.
Where were they after that first season?
That's not. So go on, Tanner.
To your point, Hopes. Let's also not forget, though, Liverpool didn't break their business model to go and get Alisson and Van Dijk. They sold Coutinho for 146 million. I believe it was euro. I'm not sure if it was euros or pounds, but the number that sticks in my head is 146 million. They turned that into Alisson and Van Dijk. So really, when we talk about the Liverpool model, who are we going to sell realistically to raise the money to go out and buy those players? Because that's what it's going to come down to. The installments thing. You're right. We're paying in installments. I don't even remember who we sold last year. We lost Ramsey on a free. But no three words trigger me more than self-sustaining model. But hey, you know what? And this is I've been asked this when I've been over there. I've been asked about Stan Kroenke because I'm American, and he owns some other American franchises. I'll say this: the Denver Nuggets, the Colorado Avalanche, and the LA Rams are successful. Colorado Avalanche's hockey team were anyway. Now that the NHL suspended their season as well, they're considered a championship contender. The Nuggets, they were kind of up there last year. Tony, you could speak more to that because I don't really follow the NBA that much. The Rams were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So the way that he does business, and I understand that this is a different business model in terms of acquiring players or ridding yourself of players. But I need to see all of this kind of play out a little bit longer. But I just want to reiterate the point to host that Liverpool made a big sale to generate the funds to bring in arguably their two best and most important players.
Yeah, I get it. And if you look at when we've brought in players like the likes of Xhaka, Mustafi, we've spunked up a lot of money as well. Like it just hasn't been spent correctly. Liverpool had Coutinho, and I totally agree with that. Who do we have? Are we prepared to sell? Okay, let's say our best two players in Aubameyang and Lacazette, because we at the moment Pepe's not going to give us the £70 million. So are we? Even if we are prepared to sell them, do we have confidence in the people who are saying, right, I want him and I want whoever to spend wisely? Because I get your point. All right, let's not break the model. Let's keep the model, but we've got to then spend. We have to make more. We have to make more use of the money that we get for the players that we spend.
The key word here is smart. We have to spend smartly. It's not. I've said this before, and I've said it 100 times if I've said it once. It's not always about going out and acquiring the best player. It's about acquiring the right player. And I hope I'll answer your question. Do I trust the powers that be to make the right decisions in terms of recruitment? I am going to trust that Mikel Arteta did not take this job to sit on the sidelines during transfer negotiations and have zero input with Raul Sanlehi to say, okay, you guys just go get me the players. You go get me the ingredients and I'll make dinner. I don't think that's him now. I think he is going to have a say in the players that he wants. And why shouldn't he? He's the one that's coaching them. It's his system.
Yeah.
These are the guys that I want that I think are going to fit into my system. So I'll just say, I caution people with the Thomas Partey stuff. I know he's a great player. He looks damn good, and we all want him. But I'm not saying I'm just taking the other side of the argument. Mikel Arteta may not want him. He may look at him and say, yeah, but he doesn't really fit what I want to do. Not saying he's that, but that it's just, I think it's a matter of being a good coach, in my opinion, is you have your system. But until you get in the players to fit your system, I think you have to be adaptable and create a system to fit your players at the very beginning, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Sorry, I don't want to hop because there's four other people here. But if we run with that at the minute that Mikel Arteta has said, I want input in who we buy, then why the fuck are we doing with Suarez from Southampton, who is sat on the bench? What the fuck are we doing with that?
Those have to be stopgaps.
See, here's the thing, right? To follow on,
no, but do you know what I mean? Really?
To follow on from what Hopes and Tanner were saying, if we're going to go down like a Liverpool route, we've really only got one asset that's going to bring in a chunk of money, and Aubameyang is going to be far shorter than Coutinho. If we're lucky, we may be able to rinse someone on a good day for 70 million euros. Yeah,
still not enough.
But then the other side of the coin is, why would we want to even do that? Because right now, we know that we get one thing out of Aubameyang, which is what everybody wants, and that's goals.
Exactly. So, no, this is a great
resign. Why would we voluntarily want to sell him for 70 million and risk losing that goal return? That's the thing.
I wouldn't. That's not
exactly.
That's not a move I would make.
Exactly. This is a conversation that I had on another podcast, and there was a passionate 5-minute sort of tussle between me and another fellow panelist there about whether we should sell Aubameyang or not, and the idea was that Aubameyang only has 1 year left, and he's going to charge like say £300,000 a week. That's 46 million over 3 years, and so on and so forth. But the idea is that Aubameyang's goals are literally the only thing that is saving us right now, and is going to be the difference between us qualifying for the Champions League or not next year, even if we are contenders. And we just can't let it go. He position, I think his best position is playing as a striker. He can guarantee us 30 to 35 goals in the Premier League, and we don't get the best out of him because we're trying to fit square pegs in round holes, and trying to keep an out of form Lacazette, trying to test out Nketiah, all of this while he's defending on near our corner flag, and that's just not worth it. This guy for the next 2 or 3 years can give us like 30 goals a season and break us into that Champions League spot. 70 million won't get you anyone. Timo Werner or any of these strikers are going to be upwards of 100 million.
I would just say as well, I would, I want to keep him for his goals, but if it's a difference of selling him for 70 million or paying him 350 grand a week, I think I'd probably be inclined to take the 70 million, because I've seen how it all plays out before when we put players on that stupid money. It's just too big of a risk. Yeah, and if you're not able to be in Europe, can we afford? We're a mid-table team. We can't afford to be playing players that kind of Champions League winning money.
Look at our budget on wages is less than Chelsea, is less than United, less than City, less than Liverpool. The only team that pays more in wages is less in wages than us is Spurs amongst the teams in that bracket, and he is an exception. We would have all been happy if that money was given to Sanchez and he continued what he was doing. The only reason why we look at that money and we frown about it is because Ozil isn't performing, and Aubameyang is another guy who can perform at that level, who has been performing at that level, and there is no reason why, whatever he makes, I don't know how much he makes. Maybe he makes like £170,000 a week. If that doesn't have his head gone, then £300,000 a week. What is buy with £300,000 a week that you can't buy with £170,000 a week?
I'd just be more inclined to say, have a cap at around £200,000, And if he wants 350, then there can be contracts that can be done on some kind of incentives, right? If we get to this, if you do this or that. I mean, at the moment, he has a goal bonus of £45,000 a goal. So every goal he scores, he gets an extra £45,000. So there's ways to perhaps incentivize it, raise that figure. Perhaps there's ways that can do it, but I'm not comfortable because of the way that we are at the moment and where we are as a team. And let's face it, we're a mid-table team. Let's have it right. We can't afford to have Ozil on 350 grand and then paying Aubameyang 350 grand. Ludicrous.
We have to cut the losses on Ozil. I know that he will not go because we're paying him so much money, but we have to let him go, pay part of his wages, and get a substantial part of his wages off of our books, pay that money to Aubameyang, and Arsenal fans don't need to be accountants. This is what I hate about this, that we all need to do the math. We're not paid by the club. Why should we be doing the math here? We're supposed to enjoy the best players in the world, but here we are trying to penny pinch every time.
Do you not buy any form of merchandising then? You don't spend money on tops or any other lunch boxes, duvet covers? We do live in a time where I hear what you're saying. Back in the days when it was just Oracle and CFAX and we had the back page of the newspapers, the only time I ever heard David Seaman speak was when I went to games because I used to sit 6 rows behind a goal. And the first time I heard him speak, I was surprised when he had this Yorkshire accent. For some reason, I thought he'd sound like a Londoner. Really surprised me. But now, we have people like Swiss Ramble, and he puts a lot of content out, but all of his content is based around finances. And I do get what you're saying, Rohan, that, we're fans first. We shouldn't be accountants, but it's just the way of the world now. We get to know all of these things. I mean,
and with social media, Stan, we know a lot more than we did back in the day.
I mean, footballers, it's probably the only job where we look at somebody's salary and we equate it on a weekly fee. Now, how much do you get paid a week? Surely we all get paid monthly or we know our annual figure. And the reason is, and it's probably quite ironic, the reason that we still refer to footballers getting a weekly wage is because the FA are still trying to equate football back into the days when men worked in factories. They got a weekly wage. They got a little brown envelope at the end of the week. And in that envelope, there were pound notes, But it's ridiculous because if you say, well, how much does he get paid a week? 350 grand. That's mind-blowing. A guy working in his factory, that's just like, huh? But that's the reason that they do it,
And we don't hear that over here. With American sports, you hear their annual value. What are they paid for the year? And trust me when I tell you, these guys are making. Like I ran the numbers for Mesut Ozil. Jeez, I mean, listen, man, there are baseball players and basketball players that dwarf him in salary.
Let's get to the next freestyle topic. If nobody has one, Hope's actually send me something in the private chat. We could probably open up to the forum. He basically said in the private chat.
No, I've got one. I've got a hot topic. Coming away from our midfield and defence, what does the panel think? Who is our best attacking four? And how would you play them?
Can you say that again, Hopes?
Yeah.
So with our attackers in Pepe, Ozil, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Martinelli, how would you play? Like, we've only got, let's say, 6 players, 4 positions, 6 players included, let's say, Nketiah, and we've only got 4 positions. How do you play them?
How do you play the
I think I can go.
Go ahead, Rohan.
Yeah,
is that the question?
I think I would definitely do. Pepe is on the right, definitely. I mean, he's that Arjen Robben sort of guy. Hopefully, he turns out that way, goes into the left, scores goals there. Aubameyang has to play centrally for me, conserve his energy. He's on the wrong side of 30 now. He needs to be that poacher. He needs to run in and get the goals. On the left, I think we're good with Martinelli and Saka for next season. I would play, both of them, keep rotating and get the best out of them. The number 10 spot, which is Ozil, like I said, get Ozil off of our books. If we can get a Grealish or get someone else, something like that, and that's our position, And just one more thing that I want to add: the reason why I'm saying again, not sell Aubameyang, is because of the fact that I think the trend has been over the last few years that we spend big on one player, and if that one player that we're going to spend big on is going to be a player of my choice, it has to be the central defender. That is the player. We keep Aubameyang, we've got the spine, and then we try to fill in gaps with teams that are going down, teams from Europe, something like
I have
that.
a nagging feeling, Rohan, that the most money will go in midfield this summer. I have a nagging feeling about that.
Where it needs to go.
But it has to go in the central defense. That is what will. That is what is costing us right now.
Norma had a question: should Arsenal re-sign Ramsey? And I'm kind of against that. We've already let him go, and I don't think we're going to get Serge ever again. They've both left us, and we're going to move on to newer pastures. I think everyone maybe agrees with that, right?
Yeah.
We should have kept Ramsey.
Should have kept. Yeah, I literally was just going to say we should have kept Ramsey. That he never should have left. But hindsight's always 20/20, as they say.
But these were our big assets. These were our big assets, right?
We got burned that way. Go ahead, Rohan.
These were our big assets. I didn't understand why we didn't sign, players like etc. on 2-3 year deals and strike a deal with them that stay for 1 year and then we will sell you if you want to go, and we'll pay you whatever money that you want, because Juventus is paying that sort of money anyway. So there would have been suitors for them, and we would have made a lot of cash for them. We just let everyone go for free, and now we are in the situation that we can't have that, the Liverpool model. I think the only asset that we have to sell, and unfortunately this guy is poorly out of form, is Lacazette.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Rohan. But I also agree with Lombard camp here. Play Martinelli, Alba, and Pepe, and we should attack on the counter to use their pace. But we're going to have to rethink our midfield to do that as well, right, folks?
Yeah,
our midfield does not move the ball fast enough, Hopes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a given. I want to just bring in another question with the midfield. I would say, and I'm going out on a limb here, that we need to get rid of Nketiah, Willock, Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Reece Nelson. I don't see them. I think out of our young people, Saka and Martinelli keep 100%. Emil Smith-Rowe, I haven't seen enough of him, but now I think Nketiah, Willock, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Nelson have not done enough. And I would go as far as saying, and this is all around the midfield question, apart from Nketiah, obviously, I would add Guendouzi to that list if, let's say, this time next season, his attitude is not where it should be, and he's not following Mikel's orders. I don't mind him having an attitude as long as the guy can follow orders. But for me, he holds the ball too long, and he can't play the ball quickly enough. What do you guys think about that in terms of our young players? Because if I've heard time and time again on this podcast from a lot of you saying we've got to get back to Champions League. We're not going to be able to attract the right players and so on and so forth. Then would you sell those names I've just said?
I think that one of the names on the list there, I hear what you're saying actually, and there's probably a lot of people out there screaming at what you just said, right? Because we have to protect. You have to protect the young guns, right? There's this sense of protection around our young players, but sometimes you have to talk about facts, right? And we're here to talk about what we've been seeing, and sometimes it might be a little bit different. I can put some people might be able to put together a reel of Danny Ceballos in the last game and put all his highlights in, and it looked really good. Someone else can put together the same from the same match, a highlight reel of all the bad things he done. Right? That's why we all come together to chat. But the one name on that list that I think might have a little bit more of distance or a bit more of a future under Mikel Arteta might be Reece Nelson, and I'll tell you why. he seems to be doing the one thing on that side that Nicolas Pepe isn't able to do. And I think Mikel Arteta wants a right-sided winger to do, and that's to move the ball on the outside and cross in, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, when Nicolas Pepe was at his previous team, he came into the centre a lot more. Like sometimes, you know, I only found this out, don't get me wrong, I never watched a team before we bought him. This is stuff I found out afterwards, right? Taking a look and watching stuff. He seemed to come into the middle a lot. And you saw a couple of times with his crossing, he comes into the middle and has to do a scoop shot with his left foot to get the ball in. Whereas Reece Nelson, he takes it on, he can go around the outside as well, which Nicolas Pepe just seems incapable of doing. If it's not on that left foot, then we all know where he's going to move with the ball. So I think that with Nicolas Pepe, I'd like to see him sometimes switching over onto the left side and those two flanks, you know, changing. If he's, say, left-footed, surely he can take the ball on the left-hand side around the player and cross it in and add a bit more variety to his game.
Yeah.
So maybe Reece Nelson is the one on that list.
He seems to be terribly, like, one-footed is the wrong word, but favors his left foot, like, you know, like
it's very
Robin,
predictable
right?
now. From what I've
But
seen
if he can produce the goods like them, like Robin, then nothing like it, right? You know, the thing is, I think now the way football has evolved in the past few years, it's all about inverted, wingers and fullbacks providing the will. I think the owner should be on Bellerin or whoever the second is to provide that width, and Pepe to do what he's doing, but to convert more. You know, if he had a 15-goal season from him, you know, that would be massive for us. You know, why not? You know, and I think he can do that. I think he just holds on to the ball so long. I'm just shouting at the screen, come on, pass or shoot, pass, shoot. But he's just like trying to cut, and then the ball goes.
And you're right. I mean, Robin was very one-dimensional. We all knew what Robin was going to do when he started running with the ball. But the difference is there was a tangible end product, and we're not seeing that from Nicolas Pepe just yet. It worries.
Yeah.
Hey, Mobe Gunnar, thanks for joining us. Thanks for everybody watching in the
Mobe.
Big up, Mobe. Listen, since you were talking about that, do we have faith that Pepe revolutionized Manchester City's way of Pep revolutionized Manchester City's way of playing with all these crazy ideas that he had that actually worked quite well? I have faith that Arteta can do the same thing. He just needs the tools. He needs the players.
I think he has the system, but I was at the West Ham game, and that was the first game under Mikel where I was very concerned, and it seemed to me, you know how when you have the new manager lull, like everyone suddenly pulls their socks up? In that West Ham game, I felt it was like I was watching an Unai Emery team, and a lot of the players, they just ran out of steam. You know, like it was like, sorry, we can't give you any more than you want. So yeah, to answer your question, Ray, just like Pep did at Man City, I think Mikel Arteta has that ability. I will also caveat that with, let's just look, like, since Arteta has left Man City, their form has dipped drastically. The amount of losses they've had has gone through the roof in one hand. So, you know, and not just that, but the players also, a lot of City players said the amount of time and attention he gave them. And we saw that when he came to Arsenal. A lot of players like Mustafi, Xhaka suddenly started to up their game a little bit more, but I don't think we're getting any more out of them. So
I think we're doing as much as we can out of those players.
Yeah, and this is where the board come into it, and they need to back Arteta by getting in the players he wants. Back to what Tanner was saying and what Rohan was saying, because ultimately, I think the players they can't give any more than they can.
It's very encouraging as well that the players from Man City that sang a lot of praises about how Mikel Arteta personally had helped their game. There's a lot of the attacking players, Sane, Sterling, a couple of others. So, you know, if he can do some of that with someone like a Nicolas Pepe, I mean, if it was me, I'd be like, Nicky, when training finishes, I'd keep him behind for 20 minutes and I'd have him kicking the ball at a brick wall with his right foot until he's confident to use his right foot. Yeah. If we can get a little bit of what he's done with Sane and Sterling, with people like Martinelli, Reece Nelson, and Pepe, we could be in for some good players on, you know, in our attacking sense of the game.
Well, Rising 101's got a question there about Pepe playing the 10 position, and maybe the 10 is defunct and all of that, but I think that Pepe should play more centrally and be closer to goal. I definitely do. And I think I have a theory that Pepe actually plays better when Bellerin is overlapping down the right with him. I see a lot more balance in that tandem. Question here from Norman.
Sorry, I thought someone was going to. That last question, I do have something for that regarding the number 10 position. And that for me is, if we're going to stick with a number 10 position, it's got to be someone that's got a great passing range. So I've seen a lot of people saying that Lacazette or Pepe should maybe play the number 10. But you really have someone that not necessarily can travel with the ball, but has pinpoint passing. But my actual answer to that would be is, it doesn't matter who we put in. If we play our current formation, it doesn't matter who we put in at a number 10. They'll probably have the same amount of effect on the game that Ozil's having, which is not very much. Because the way that we play,
I would like a Cantwell or a Grealish there.
But I just feel that with a number 10, the way that we play at the moment, you've just got one player who's static in space and is continually waiting to get the ball. If there was a change of formation in the midfield, with perhaps one defensive midfielder and two eights that will track back and work with the defensive midfielder and also make runs into the box and get on the end of things and assist, I think that would be something that we should look at. Let's just forget a number 10. We're playing a number 10 because we've got Mesut Ozil in our team. It cost us 350 grand a week, and that's the only position he can play. And so we're struggling with that.
He's the last of the 10s, Stan, like the last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
Can I just say, since Mikel Arteta's come in, if you observe us when we attack, we don't play with a number 10. No. What position do we play? What formation do we play when we attack? I put that out to anyone.
It's like 2 at the back. It's like 4-5 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Out as
so it's 2-3-5.
Yeah. Arteta's right out on the right hand side.
Yeah, and that's what surprise, what City does as well. So and I sussed this when I was at the Emirates the other day, because you don't get to see the full formation when you're watching from home. And what I saw was Ozil was just literally left there up ahead. Sorry, have I missed something?
Yeah, Mobay, man. I'm just saying what I'm seeing, man.
Oh, right, I didn't see it. Sorry, I've got so many windows open. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't want to make this about, Ozil, but we play a 2-3-5 when we attack, right? So even if we don't play with a 10, admit Ozil, great. Send him to the, give him to the dogs, whatever. We attack with a 2-3-5. So who's talking about number 10?
Exactly. I think it's not so much that I'm picking on Ozil. I'm picking on the position.
No.
I'm playing with number 10 because we've got that guy. But
let's not say the O word at all. Let's rephrase that question. Arsenal attack with a 2-3-5.
Yeah.
So number 10 to number 8, it don't come into the question because we attack with a 2. Do you get the point?
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Right. So therefore, the onus, in my opinion, goes on those 2 centre midfielders who are supplying the 5.
Yeah. Question to the panel: if Arsenal were granted 1 free transfer, Tony, I'm going first. You're going first, Tony. What player would you sign? Don't say Partey.
Can I take 5 picks?
Did he say Partey?
No, Kanate.
Anyone else got a shout?
Is it realistic, or is it like
it's you have any player you want, man.
Yeah, for me, Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne.
All right, go outside the
This will be
Premiership.
Upamecano.
Upamecano. I think I would agree with that one. Stan, go outside the Premiership.
Say again.
Just for shits and giggles, go outside the Premiership.
Outside of the Premiership,
Yeah.
I like Donny van der Beek as well. I like that guy.
Tanner?
Man, that's tough.
I'm trying to be realistic as well.
I mean, I could name 4 or 5.
You want Neymar?
Nah,
He's a showboater, right?
I don't want Neymar.
Mbappe?
Man, on a free transfer.
We want workhorses.
What's that?
We need workhorses. We don't need like Neymar. We don't have that.
We could go
that
mad,
luxury.
right, and say somebody like Haaland, right? That kid looks to me, that Haaland kid looks like he's going to be around for a long time.
All right, listen. If it's a free transfer coming to the end of their career, would you take Ronaldo? He just said no.
Is he coming on a free?
Yeah, he's coming for free. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd take him. If he's coming for free, yeah, I'd take him.
Yeah.
I'd take him for no other reason than marketing.
Exactly.
The marketing and the merchandise alone we wouldn't need Champions League. We could be relegated. It wouldn't matter. The marketing and the merchandise would that'd be the money right there.
Like when George Best went to Fulham.
What's that?
It's like when George Best went to Fulham. That every week.
Who are the first 2 Premier League fame players you choose?
I think we should pick 9 Arsenal players.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So the Hall of Fame, the Premier League Hall of Fame, pick 2 players with no bias.
For what am I picking? Am I picking?
Oh, what do you think, Tony? You could pick Alan Shearer, but why would you do that? You could pick Ryan Giggs, but why would you do that?
Did Eric Cantona play in the Premier League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to have him in there as one of them, I think. Not, taking out Arsenal stuff, I think Eric Cantona would be in there. One of them.
One of my 2, no doubt. David Beckham.
Drogba.
David Beckham all day long.
Okay. Didier Drogba.
Yeah, I like the Drogba. I like that shout. That's good.
The thing is with Drogba, when you actually look back, if you go onto like Wikipedia and look at his actual sort of stats, there's not actually as many goals in the season as you actually think. I think it's more that some of the goals he scored were in big matches, but he wasn't like a 25 goal a season.
Yeah. Big game player.
All right, now you get your Arsenal players, Thierry Henry and Dennis Bergkamp from there.
It's not even close.
Any variation? Bobby Perez, good shout, rising.
Yeah.
Was Perez better than Bergkamp?
No.
I mean, that goal at Newcastle kind of says it all for me. That goal, at Newcastle, I mean, Perez was involved, though. He got the ball to Dennis, right?
Yeah, yeah. I love Bobby Perez, but, man, to say he's better than Bergkamp is...
What you meant to say was, Hannah, I love Robert Perez, but to say he's better than the master...
Right.
I've got variation on that. I'd choose Bergkamp all day long, but I'd choose Overmars as well. He was
very good. Yeah,
he was beautiful. He was just.
Where is he? Is he still? Was it Ajax? Is that where he is?
Yeah.
He was
director
of Ajax or something.
I heard a story about Mark Overmars that I used to live in Holland, and they were telling me that when he was a little kid, he'd go up to his uncle's or grandfather's farm somewhere in Holland, and they would tie like a piece of string around his waist and kind of like a fix, kind of like a, basically he would run through his granddad's field and pull up the potatoes with like a plow. And he would run because he was fast, right? And I said, no, and I've seen an interview with him. Apparently that's a true thing. That's how he learned to run.
Yeah.
A bit like Rocky chasing the chicken.
Story.
Off and kicking.
All right, anyone got another open freestyle topic they want to talk about? Or we'll just touch on the Premier League again and close it out?
I didn't really do my homework on that one, but been a little preoccupied.
Shame on you.
Yeah, shame on me for 6 weeks. I've been a little preoccupied with all the obviously everything else going on, and
All good, Tanner. It's all good.
I've got one. I've got another one. What would you guys do with Ainsley Maitland-Niles at the moment, considering that the recent reports are when Mikel Arteta came to Arsenal, Ainsley said to him, "I'm done with right back. Do not put me there." What do we do with?
I was going to say play him at right back, but since you put that caveat in there,
that's what he said. That's what he said. That's why he's sat on the bench. Apparently, that's what
he's not on the bench. He's not even making the bench.
Since Ferreira's injured, I would play him as the.
But he's not even making the bench, right? I mean, he's not even like he's been dropped for someone else.
If you go to the coach or the manager and you say, "Look, I'm not playing here anymore," no, you're done.
What would you do, though, Stan?
Say again.
Hope's posed to you. What would you do if you're the manager?
Jog on, Ainsley. Jog on. You know.
Jog on.
I mean, you look at it this way, right? On the other side of the defense, we've got Saka. He's not a left back here. And Saka's doing exactly what he should be doing. You're a young guy at Arsenal. You've come up through the academy, and you've got a chance to play in the first team.
Your head down.
And it's in not your favoured position. Do you say, nah? Well, I'm not really a left back, or do you try and do the best that you can and take your chance? And that's what I like about Saka. He's taken it with both hands. He's not done that Ainsley Maitland-Niles story about, well, I'm not really a left back. He's just getting on with it, and maybe he'll be rewarded in time with featuring in his favoured position.
I don't think there's any question of that. I agree 100% with Rising. I've said it before on this show, Ray, that I think Maitland-Niles should have just focused on being a right back because that's where he showed the best.
All the right attributes, but apparently not the right attitude.
Can I play devil's advocate here? If you were Ainsley Maitland-Niles, now when Unai Emery came in and Bellerin had that injury, correct me if I'm wrong, did he or did he not, Ainsley Maitland-Niles played the majority of that season at right back?
Yes.
And even up until Christmas 2019, so just a couple of months ago, he played that position, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to say, hasn't he said, all right, I'll fill in as much as he can fill in now? So do we therefore then owe him something back when he's saying, sorry, no, I've done it for a year and a half now. I'm not like a Saka who's just broken. You know, I was promised all these things and I've delivered for you for a year and a half. Right now, play me where I want to play. Develop me there.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's like saying David Luiz is, if David Luiz played out of position for a year and a half and said, now, you know what? I'm done doing this. I want to play striker now. And I gave you a year and a half over there. I don't care where you want to play. I'm the guy in charge here. If you don't like it, there's the door.
If as a football player, if you're not happy how you're being deployed, then perhaps you should move on to somewhere else.
Right.
And this is what Mikel Arteta apparently said to him, that I don't care who you are, but you play where I want you to play. And it goes back to my earlier topic about we've got this pool of young talent, but when do we say, sorry, we can't keep sending you on loan? You just like Eddie, like the other day against West Ham and even like prior, he's not really, is he really taking his chance? When we can, like what we did with Iwobi, all right, we're not going to get 40 million for him, but we're going to get some amount, and that all accumulates across the 7 or 8 youngsters we got, and it can go towards 1 or 2 players, going back to Tanner's point about what Liverpool
Correct. I agree with that, Hopes, yeah. Right back is the only position that is as good as he should have been happy he can play week in and week out for Arsenal.
See, that's
privileged position, Tanner.
Sorry, say again?
Privileged to play for Arsenal, he should be.
Absolutely. I agree with Lung Bergkamp 100% there. He played well at right back, and he could have been he would have played week in and week out for the club that he, grew up playing for and rooting for. And you're doing something that, a fraction of a percentage of the world's population get to do, and you're getting paid to do it. And he did it relatively well. Was he the best right back ever?
I mean, listen, right? You're out there on the park with your mates having a kickabout, and you're playing striker. And then Mikel Arteta drives by in his car, stops, rolls his window down, and says, "I like you, but I want you to play out right back." Are you going to tell him to jog on, or are you going to turn up?
Say, hey, listen, man. I could be the water boy too if you want me to be. I don't care. Let's go,
mate. I'll take Gunnosaurus at this point.
Exactly. Yeah, dude. I'll be the guy that fires the cannon. Oh wait, we don't have that. Never mind.
Well, Rohan, we got some good money for Iwobi.
That was really funny. Don't say that. That was funny.
One of the best bits of business that we've done in a long while, and I think we can get a good man for Niles in the summer. We should take it. He's obviously not a good fit in the manager's eyes. We can turn a profit on him.
Oh, yeah,
but how much are we going to get for him? Because if he was that good, he would have been playing in our midfield. I don't know as good. To
25.
break into the midfield, he's got an opportunity. He's got an opportunity to play for Arsenal Football Club in a position which is open. He's not taking that chance. It's foolish that he's trying to. Our aspirations are to be, a Champions League club. Not
over 100 games for us.
Say it again, Ray.
He's played over 100 games for us, Ainsley.
Listen,
really?
25.
His attitude is driving down his market value. So his rumored attitude is driving down his market value. That's why. Who said 25 million for him?
Well, Tony and me.
Hold on, Ray. You say he's played over 100 games. Is that including under 20? Is that under 23s as well?
I think senior games, 100 senior games.
Really? It's just, I did not think it was as much as that at all. That surprises me. Doesn't feel.
He's been up here what 3-4 years now. He's been part of the senior squad. So you figure cup matches, European matches. Yeah, it's probably
the end of his tenure.
Look, he played the majority of last season. So.
But it's so telling that he's not even making the bench.
Exactly.
That's the thing. He's not even making the bench. He's not even
down to attitude. In my opinion, that's pure attitude. And I loved Maitland-Niles. Now it's just man, go. Sorry.
Can I ask another question? Another really hot topic. It just came to me. Right? It's your show. Go. This question just came to me. Right. With today's announcement that Mikel Arteta has tested positive, I don't want to get into the whole ins and outs of how long, the Premier League is going to get cancelled for, or if it does get cancelled. But guys, let's say Arsenal now need an interim manager. Who'd you go for?
That's a good
point. It just came to me, the question.
That's a very, very good question and very plausible, right?
In the current circumstances, right?
Right now, the assistant will take over.
Yeah.
No, but let's say we need someone for 6 or 8 months, and let's assume there's no assistant. Let's just assume.
You wanted Jose Mourinho way back, so let's get him now.
lads, who is our assistant? I can't remember. Who is our assistant manager? Who's next in line?
Wasn't that guy who was under Ryan Giggs at Wales?
Steve Round. Was it him? Somebody, Jeff Round, Steve Round. Who is that number 2?
Yeah, Steve Round.
Is that our number 2? So he would probably. Wow, I know that's a good question. I never considered that.
No, but let's just say Steve Round says, I don't want the job. Let's say Steve Round says, no, we need someone for 6 months until Mikel Arteta's back on his feet or what have you.
Did you hear that, Rowan? An interim manager for Arteta while he's out sick.
Good.
Might be frozen.
He's just in pure shock by the question.
He's either in shock or he's playing that statue game, and he's
No, he heard Mourinho and he just froze.
Tony, who would you have?
Perez, what else does he do? Let him make some money for once.
Let him earn his keep.
Unai Emery's not working yet, is he?
Shut
Oh,
your
that's
mouth.
right. No, but who would you have? Like, you know, who?
Give back to Freddie.
No.
All right.
That's my choice.
He's way up in the nosebleed seats.
Someone came to my mind just a minute ago, but I won't say who. Let's go round. Who would you have, Ray?
I'm trying to think like you, and that's very, very weird for me. And
Hang on, is it somebody that's
I'm
available?
probably-
Can we
Someone-
poach someone?
Someone what?
Someone who's available, who is unemployed, and he's got Premier League experience. That's who I'm thinking
I know
of.
I know exactly who he's thinking of.
But don't think of him. I'm just asking you guys. You can have anyone from the world, like who's kind of like current. Who's available, and he would just fill in for like, I don't know, a couple of months until.
I'll find it very hard to believe that the club would actually look outside of its own ranks to try to fill the position under those circumstances. So that being said, I'd go with Freddie Lundberg. But can I take a stab at who you're thinking of?
So
Isn't that scary though? Isn't that scary, Tanner, though?
It is, but I think if you bring in someone from the outside, you completely disrupt the. I think you really disrupt the. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Yeah,
you bring in someone from the outside. You're bringing in someone who wants to instill their own ideas, and there's already a concept being built here right now. That's who you're thinking of, isn't it?
No, I'm not thinking of him because what I'm saying is that anyone you're going to bring in, Tanner, is going to have their style of play for the 6 months. So it's got to be someone who's got a style of player as well. Because Freddie, you guys have said, no, you and Ray kind of said Freddie, and the thing with Freddie is that he said, I can't do this job. I don't have the skills. He said that.
I'd go so far as to just say,
he didn't have the skills. He didn't have the coaches' hopes.
I'm with Lundberg camp. Big Sam all the way, man.
I think.
Sorry, forgive my French, man.
Oh, Lundberg said he didn't have the coaches. He needed coaches to help him.
No, but he still said even with the coaches, he just doesn't have it. He just doesn't have it in him.
All right, well, you got me. Rohan, you got it.
No, but it's your choice. It's your choice. That's the thing here. It's your choice.
Rafa.
It's a tricky one, right? Like, before Arteta came in, I wanted Allegri to come in, but that's being unrealistic, right? Like, for someone to come in as interim.
Because if you're talking about interim, someone like Claudio Ranieri, he's been around, but he doesn't come across like someone that's going to rock the boat until Mikel Arteta comes back. So someone like him, dilly ding, dilly dong, might be a good fit.
What about you, Tony?
I said Perez. He needs to earn his keep.
He's there anyways all the time.
About Perez.
You know who I'm thinking of?
Predator.
I'll tell you who I'm thinking of. Pochettino.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Why not?
He's not coming in on an interim basis.
No.
Why not?
Nah.
I don't know if I'm hearing things, but I thought I just heard the Predator in the background again.
I sure did hear the Predator in the background.
Want
All
some
right,
candy?
We got to wrap it up here. Tanner, you got to go, right?
Yeah, I got to bounce, guys.
Get out of here.
All right.
Tanner, take care.
Nicest way possible. Get the hell out of here.
Hey, I want to just say, everybody here, everybody watching, you guys, stay safe. Take care of yourselves, please. Listen to what folks around you are saying. Exercise common sense. Wash your hands. Clean all the surfaces in your house real good. Do it. If you do it twice, do it 3 or 4 times a day. Obviously the world of sports is taking this very seriously now. So it's high time we all did as well. So thanks, guys. I'll see you out there. Good talk.
Thanks, Tanner.
See you, Tanner.
Take care.
All right, I'm going to give you all a minute to finish up the show and say something. Stan, say something.
Thank you all for watching. Stay safe. If you've got any old people in the family, like old grandmas and granddads, check in on them. Make sure they're okay. Make sure they've got everything that they need so they don't really have to leave the house. And basically, just what everyone's been saying, keep yourselves clean, keep yourself safe. Don't go to no big gatherings and stuff like that if you don't need to. And hopefully my Craftwork tickets for June will still be good.
Tony, don't just say something. Say something.
For me, it's been tough since the Oklahoma City game last night got canceled, and that's only 100 miles from here. And now
You had friends there, right?
I had friends at my game.
Well, that's a worry.
And now, like the local high school, they had a tournament and they had to cancel it because some of the kids interacted with the Utah players. They had to cancel the basketball tournament today. And now Arteta's sick, and it's kind of both my teams have the virus.
Listen, it might seem like a sad time, but we're going to get through this. Take care of your loved ones, everyone. And I'm going to leave the 2 final words to Rohan and Hopes. Hopes, you go first, and Rohan, you're going to get the last word.
Sure.
I would say the fear of death is worse. Is not as bad as death itself. Try and come together, like being a community. Don't take in a lot of what you're reading. Whilst we're here having a laugh, debating, people who have paid millions of pounds, at the end of the day, no amount of money is going to save us. So, yeah, I don't want to be scared, sound like scare anyone or anything like that. I know what I'm saying is very serious, but time is not guaranteed. So make the most of what you have, and if you got any amends to make, anyone to ask for forgiveness or something, just say it, because you don't know what's around the corner, and stay safe. And I pray for all of you, that we can come out of this together. We've got many more Arsenal Fan Circle shows to do in the future,
Yeah. Rohan.
Yeah, I mean, I just echo the thoughts. It's a difficult time for everyone in across the globe, But on the lighter side, there's plenty of entertainment available on the internet. And the forefront of it is 6 guys talking about, about COVID-19, and then what should happen to the Premier League and everything in between, right? Like and talking about the team that they love, and the accounts that we have to do to get the players in. So there's plenty of content available. Just enjoy that, and just be safe. This is the time that you like sort of. I know that everyone, so I'm originally from India, and then everyone is pretty much into yoga stuff. There's one more thing that people can probably pick up from Indian cultures. Instead of shaking hands, just like fold your hands to greet other people. Don't shake hands. That might be the cause of your death. So so don't even high five. Just that's enough. And yeah. So that's that. But it's to be taken seriously. But if we can find some sort of humor in it, comedy is just tragedy plus time, right? Like let's try to keep a light heart, but a sound mind to everything.
Yeah, you've been watching six guys talking about things we're not qualified to talk about, really. Coronavirus.
Please, right? You were watching 6 guys. There's only 5 of us. One hasn't died. If you've just tuned in, he left on his own accord. He's good.
Yeah.
5.5.
We were just 6 unqualified guys to talk about these things. But listen, if we've raised awareness in the first part of the show and made you laugh in the second part of the show, I think all 6 of us will say we've done our job tonight. We've just come together and have a chat about the world in general, and Arsenal in particular, I guess, And we'll get through this. We just have to take care of those who are elderly. We all know someone who's elderly, like I said earlier, and people who are don't have, are susceptible, have underlying conditions. So, and the other thing is, if if you do catch this thing, you will get through it if you're young and healthy. Don't be a spreader. Do all the right things. And we will talk to you guys next time. It's been a somber show, but lighthearted as well. So we tried to make it a little bit of each. And Stan, thanks for joining me. Team Tony, thanks for coming in. Tanner, who left, thanks for coming in. Rohan and Hopes, thanks again. It's still 8 o'clock there in the UK, Hopes. But
Get well soon, Mikel. Get well soon, Mikel.
Yeah, get well soon, Mikel. And, you know, like we said, this thing does not respect status or age or sex or countries. So, Rising 101, I want to thank you for joining us as well. Norma, Lombard Camp, and everyone else who's been in the chats. Until next time, until the weekend. We don't know if there's going to be a game, but we'll have a podcast of some sort. And come on, you Gooners, up the Arsenal. And please, I don't usually say this, but stay safe out there and look after each other. Till next time, we're out of here. Thanks for watching.